Hi guys, Cam here from the Fish Room, and today we're setting up our first aquarium. Hope you enjoy it. So you've done it. You've decided to buy your first aquarium. Just between you and me, great decision. Anyway, you're in the pet shop and they've got everything packaged up ready for you, and they're telling you need to do this with this and this for this, and they're talking about things like substrates and thermometers, and you have no idea what on earth they're talking about. In fact, it just sounds like gobbledygook to you. So today, in this video, we're going to run through a beginner's guide of setting up their first aquarium. Let's do it. Okay, so we've got it home and we've put our stands up. Something we've got to consider before we decide where we're going to put our aquarium is it's going to get too much natural sunlight onto it from the window or on the doors, or do we have a power supply close by? Both things we need to really look at. You need power, obviously, to run the aquarium's filters, heaters and lights, so make sure it's close by to your stand where you're going to place it. And the other thing is, with direct sunlight, you don't want too much of that on your tank because it'll cause lots of unsightly algae, and at the end of the day that makes real pain. Alright, so let's consider where we're putting our stand, away from direct sunlight if possible, and as close to a power supply as we can get it. Right, so you put your aquarium on top of your stand. We can fill it up with water now, right? No. So with shop bought tanks like this one, generally there's a little lip between the bottom of the aquarium and where it sits on the stand. If they don't have that, it's very, very strongly recommended to put a bit of polystyrene or a bit of rubber mat underneath it, because any slight defect in the stand, or maybe a little stone or something underneath it, where the pressure of the water can crack the bottom, you've got water everywhere. Believe me, it is not pleasant. So before we put anything else in it, make sure we've got a little bit of polystyrene or rubber underneath it if it's a plain glass tank. If it's a store-bought one, most of the instructions recommend not to do it. Abide by that rule. Right, so the next thing we do is we put our backing tank on. I've already done it on this aquarium, but basically it comes in a roll. You cut it to the length you want, to the design you want, and you stick it to the back of your tank. So there's plenty of options to stick it on. Sellotape works well. You can get some glue that's actually designed to go on the back between the tank and the background and glue it on. Blue tack also works as well. And if you want a little bit of a tip, if you're a little bit worried about possibly the power consumption going up, on a tank this size I can assure you won't notice it, but some of the bigger tanks, it's time now to put a little bit of polystyrene between the back, or on the outside of the tank basically. So you do this as a bit of a heat sink. As the water tries to get out with the heat, the polystyrene is going to stop it. Kind of like insulating your aquarium, and I can assure you it will make your power consumption down significantly. Alright, so now we're at the fun part of setting up the aquarium. But before we go any further, I know I've forgotten a step. So before you actually fill it up and set it up, take it outside, give it a quick rinse out with some fresh water just in case there's any dust or residue in there. It's just a really good idea to do it before you go any further. So, we're up, we're under control. What do we do next? Next, it's time for substrate. What's substrate, you say? Substrate is the stuff that goes at the bottom of your aquarium. So that's the base between the glass and the water, where you plant your plants, where you put your ornaments, and where your bottom dwelling catfish like your plecos and your corridor and stuff like that hang out. So what do we do with this? Open the bag like you normally would, tip it into a bucket, give it a quick rinse out with some tap water, and once you've done that, we put it in the aquarium. So it goes in the aquarium. My advice is to have the front low and try and step it up towards the back. That'll give you more depth in your aquarium and more visually appealing. But if you don't want to do that, it's your aquarium, you can do it as you please. And that's the best thing about this hobby. No one can tell you what to do or what not to do. Right, we've got our substrate in. What do we do next? Time to set up a filter. This particular aquarium already has a filter. Draws from here all the way up, comes through here, through the filter media, back out here, and circulates the water through. You can also get other filters like this one, which is a filter that goes inside the filter and inside the aquarium, so it's an internal filter. For them, I like to stick them on the side, towards the back, like so. It's got suction cups, sticks to the edge, and does the same thing. It draws from the bottom and it pushes it through, circulates it, and filters the water for your fish. Filters are 100% essential whether you have a goldfish or whether you have a $10,000 Asian arowana. Filters are 100% essential. They come in all shapes and sizes, just like me, and they cost various amounts of money, also just like me. You can get yourself a cheap filter for $10, you can get a filter for $1,500, you can get them underneath your aquarium, in your aquarium, over your aquarium, under the substrate. There's lots and lots of ways of filtering your water, but they are dead set 100% essential. Time for the next part. Okay, so the next thing we do is we set up our heater for setting up the tropical aquarium, like we're going to in this demonstration. So I've got Jaeger by Eheim. Personally, I think these are the best heaters available. Not all heaters are made the same. Some can go completely under the water, like this one can. Others have to have the top bit sticking out of the water. Just read the instructions really carefully before you go and put it in. As I said, they're not all made the same. Personally, I think it's better to put more money into a heater than anything else, because this is basically essentially one of the life sources of your aquarium. And for the difference sometimes of $30 or $40, so you might have $200, $300, $400 worth of fish in there. It's just a better bet to put some money into a heater. Far too often I've seen cheaper heaters either stick and go way too hot and boil fish, or the opposite and not turn on and chill fish off. So I really recommend spending a bit of extra money on a better quality heater. So with this, again we open it up. Personally I prefer to put them towards the back if I can, and I normally put them on an angle. That's just me, and I like it to have movement from the filter pushing through it. I think it circulates the heat a lot better. So that's the next thing that goes in. So now we've got our substrate at the bottom, we've got our filter in, and we've got our heater. Next thing we're going to do is our lights. Okay, so again, not all lights are the same, and lighting technology has come amazing distance in the last few years when it comes to aquariums. It's probably the thing that's come them furthest in the last recent time. So we've got in here one that comes with the aquarium. As a screw and bulb type, it's going to light up your tank absolutely fine. And in my hand, we've got an LED bar one. Again, it's going to light it up, and because it's a smaller aquarium, it's going to grow plants fine as well. So when you're looking at buying a light, if you wanted to grow plants, you try to look at your par levels. I'm not going to get too deep into that because it's quite complex for beginners, but if you're getting a little more serious into your plant growing, your par levels are what you're looking for. Generally speaking, 6500 kelvins is what you're kind of looking for an aquarium light. Keys with lighting is to not have them on for too long. When you first set your tank up, maybe give it 4 hours, and then after a few weeks, give it 6 hours. And maybe a few weeks after that, give it 8 hours. And leave it at 8 hours. Let the aquarium itself grow to the light that you're giving it. If you put it on for too long to start with, you're going to have lots and lots of issues with algae whether you've got plants or not. If you don't have plants, essentially you don't actually need a light. You're only using the light to look at your fish, which of course you want to do. But if you have plants, you need a light because that's very essential. Another tip I would give is to go to a hardware shop, Bunnings, Muddy, something like that, spend $6, $7 on a power timer and set the power timer to the time you're actually going to view your aquarium. There's absolutely no point in having your lights on during the day when you can't see your fish and you get home and it's off. Enjoy them. Have the lights on when you get home and when you're going to view them the most. Right, so our heater's in place, our filter's in place, and our substrate's in. Our next step is to play around with our hardscape. What's hardscape, you say? Things like rocks and wood, they become your hardscape, and decorations and ornaments, stuff like that. So as a good rule of thumb, try and work in a rule of thirds for your aquarium. So break it into thirds, like that, and try a nice focal point on 1/3 and a smaller focal point on the 2nd third. This just helps it look better, gives you a far better look on the eye. Again, you don't have to do it, it's just a good rule of thumb to work it to give you a far better, visually pleasing aquarium. So once you've got your hardscape in, now we deal with our plants. So I know this is a plant-based substrate, but I also like using the JBL root balls as a combination. You don't necessarily need to use the JBL root balls, there's plenty of other root tabs around, but I really like these ones. They're very good value for money and they last about a year, which is pretty good. I don't poke them under often things like stems, but things like crips and swords, I always stick one of these underneath it. So all you do is you take one out of the box and you stick it under the substrate. Then you start planting your plants. So I got these off aquaticplants.co.nz from Jessica. She's absolutely fantastic. I needed them in a hurry and she delivered them in an absolute rapid pace, so I'm really happy with that. I didn't have them in stock, but I needed them for a customer. So again with these, you just plant them around, stick them inside your substrate, try and lean them towards the back, and different positioning with them. All plants grow differently, but if you kind of just spread them out a little bit, particularly with stems as they grow, you can cut them and replant them, and cut them and replant them, and cut them and replant them to really begin to bush them out. So we've got our substrate in, we've got our hardscape in, and we've got our plants in here. So what do we do next? Next, we get a plate. A plate, you say, Cam? What are we getting a plate for? Because what we're going to do with the plate is we're going to put it in your aquarium, like so, as flat as you can. You're going to get your garden hose or whatever it is you're filling up your tank with, and you're going to get the spray from the hose hitting the plate. The reason why we're doing this, we don't want everything getting messed up. Plate hits it, splashes it everywhere on a very low level, and you're not going to be left with as much of a mess. You're not left with bits of substrate everywhere, bits of plants getting blown around. So it's an absolute massive tip. It'll save you a lot of effort and a lot of stress. So put your plate in there, put your hose in there, and fill it up. I recommend filling it up about a third. And if you've got anything floating from there, then you just poke them back in, and once you've got them back in again, go another third. If you have to do it again, poke them back in, and then fill it right up to the top. Cool. Substrate's in, hardscape's in, plants are in, filter's going, heater's going, the lights are going. We can now add fish. Woohoo! Not quite yet. Hold on, tiger. Now we've got to cycle our filter. So depending on the method we're going to use, it could take up to 4 or 5 days, it could take up to a month. For the sake of this, we're going to be using the Stability, which is a chemical filtration additive, and it takes roughly a week. So all we do is we follow the instructions on the bottle. Follow it word for word, and whether it says, like I said, it's about 4 or 5 days, you're good to go. So before we put fish in, we're adding Stability, so we're cycling our filter, which is basically making our filter safe for our fish, making a home for our fish nice and safe. So all the toxic, nasty stuff is not going to damage our fish. And then we're going to add some prime, which is a dechlorinator and a heavy metal remover, because we don't know what's coming out of our taps. So that's the next step. Cycling our filter, for this sake we're using Stability, and then putting some dechlorinator in there. Right, we followed the instructions word for word. Now we can add fish. Just about. Before you add fish, test your water. So this is the API Master Test Kit. I really like it. It has pH, freshwater, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. So what we want to test for is ammonia. We want 0 ammonia. We're going to test for nitrite. We want 0 nitrite. We test for nitrate. We want about between 20 and 40 is normally what a cycle comes out at. So please note the difference between nitrite at 0 and nitrate at traces of 20 to 40. I know a lot of local pet shops and fish shops will test your water for free, which is fantastic, and we do it as well. But I highly recommend every fish keeper, particularly new fish keepers, having one of these. What happens on a Sunday night if something goes wrong with your aquarium and it's a public holiday on Monday and you can't get into the fish shop until Tuesday afternoon? That's 2 days where you could have summed it up within the first 10 minutes. So these are absolutely valuable. They're worth their weight in gold, and I highly recommend anybody buying them. It doesn't have to be the API one, but please have an ammonia, a nitrite, and a nitrate, and probably a pH test as well. So once we've done our water tests, we've got 0 ammonia, 0 nitrite, we've got about 20 parts per million nitrate. We do a quick water change. You don't have to, this is what I like to do once I've cycled a tank. So generally I do a 50% water change, and I fill it back up with 50% fresh water. At the same time I add my prime, and at the same time I add some more Stability if I've got some, for just in case reasons. And now we're good for fish. Yeehaw! So we've got our fish in, we've got our plants going, we're done. That's all we need to do. Just about, but not quite. I highly recommend getting one of these. It's going to help you do your water changes. I recommend doing water changes weekly if you can. If you can't, fortnightly is often good. As you begin keeping fish for a bit longer, you can let your aquarium sort of tell you when to do it. You begin doing a few water tests, you find your nitrate doesn't get up for 5 weeks, so you do it once a month or something like that. But as a start, I really strongly recommend doing it every week. If you get 1 week, you do it the next week, it's not going to matter so much. So one of these, vitally important to start removing your water. So you put these into the substrate, and it brings up all the muck from your fish, all the waste. If you're growing plants, you don't normally need to dive deep into the substrate, just hover above it and take the water out. But if you aren't growing plants, it's recommended to dive into it. From this, you go into a bucket, from your bucket, put it on your garden will absolutely love it. Next thing you're going to need is an algae scraper. So this plastic, so this is going to be no good because this is a glass one, but you can get acrylic or you can get glass ones. So again, they're a magnet, they sit on the outside, put the scratchy bit on the inside, and you just do this. It helps get a lot of algae off. Not all of them, but it does get a majority of the algae off. Very highly recommended, it's going to save you a lot of hassle having one of these. Just like your fish, your plants need food. I know we've got a good substrate here, but there's some plants that want to be drawing their nutrients from the leaves. So I personally recommend Flourish and Flourish Excel. So this is your food for your plants, it's your CO2 supplements. Everything needs a CO2 to grow. So if you follow the instructions per leafage on here, you'll have no trouble whatsoever. Don't just do what I've done many times, glug, 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 because you'll have trouble. Read the instructions, follow the instructions and go from there. Another little tip is go to the chemist and spend 95 cents on a little syringe and just syringe it out of the bottle. If you need 4 ml, put 4 ml in every 3 days or whatever it says. These are going to be your plant food, these are going to keep your plants nice and healthy. The key to growing plants is having a nice balanced triangle between light, nutrients and CO2. Keep this balance good and your plants will thrive and you'll have no dramas whatsoever. So that's it, we're done. Pretty easy process really, isn't it? It really is. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm fairly certain I've covered off all the basic beginner points on how to set up your first aquarium. If I've forgotten anything or you think I've forgotten anything, please chuck them in down below. Or if you disagree with me, again, put them in down below. I love to hear from people. If you've enjoyed the video, please share it around, give it a like, and please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. The more you get, the bigger we grow, the more stuff I can bring to you. I'm absolutely loving doing it, so please, I hope you're enjoying it as well. On that note, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Happy fish keeping and catch you later.